Has anyone ever heard of mermaid tears?
No.
Okay. Sea glass was once said to be mermaid tears when ships would sink and sailors drown. In the glass, the tears would wash the shore. You need to restart.
I swear.
Has anybody ever heard of mermaid tears?
No.
Okay. These are my own personal mermaid tears I found. Sea glass was once said to be mermaid tears when ships would sink and sailors drown. The tears would wash to shore. I found some sea glass over the years, and I recently found this while vacationing in Maine. Sea glass is broken shards of glass that have been smoothed out by the sea and can be found along beaches. This isn't going to work because I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Whatever. I don't know what's going on.
Has anybody ever heard of mermaid tears?
No.
No.
Okay. These are the mermaid tears that I found while vacationing in Maine. Sea glass is once said to be mermaid tears when ships would sink and sailors drown. The tears would wash the shore. Sea glass is broken shards of glass that have been smoothed out by the sea and can be found along beaches. This is another picture of more glass that I found in Maine. And then orange is the rarest color that you can find. You need to be able to tell the difference between sea glass and new sharp glass. Otherwise, you can get cut while searching if you don't know the difference. Sea glass is a beautiful and rare product of the ocean. There are ways to tell if it is indeed sea glass, and there are many things to do once you actually find some. Sea glass is created from everyday occurrences in the sea. Sea glass is a product of the ocean. Broken bottles from sunken ships and litter are tossed into the sea every day. This is why glass would wash to shore after a ship would sink, and people would think that they were mermaid tears. The wave action of the ocean tumbles, rounds, and etches the glass with sand, and the bottom of the ocean is absolutely covered in these pieces. The chemical properties of the water can take certain chemical compositions out of the glass, creating little pits. See the little pits in here? And then on the next slide there's going to be another example of a bigger piece that I found. There's a lot of pits in it. Okay, so how do you know if it's actually sea glass or just broken shards of glass or debris? If it is sea glass, if you hold it up to the light should be able to come through it, and there shouldn't be any lines, cracks, or layers. As you can see through this piece. They'll also have a frosted appearance and have no sharp edges or corners. Sea glass versus beach glass. Sea glass refers to saltwater glass, and beach glass is from freshwater. They're basically the same thing, but sea glass is from saltwater waves, so it's going to be smoother because the waves are harsher. And once you're sure that it is real, that the options are endless. There are many things to do once you find sea glass. They're collectible and different colors are worth more value. Again, orange is the most rare and therefore the most valuable. There's a history of what colors are usually from. Usually the blue pieces are from old Vicks bottles, Nivea, and Bromo seltzer bottles. Red is very rare too. It's from old perfume bottles, car tail lights, and even Schlitz beer bottles that date back to the 1950s. The most common though today is brown, green, and white from beer bottles from today's generation. So I found a lot of that. You can also make wind chimes or numerous arts and craft projects with it. But my favorite is you can make jewelry. The jewelry will certainly be one of a kind and unique. This is a piece I made that I'm actually wearing. To do this though, you want to thoroughly clean the glass first, and you want to wash it with warm soapy water. And what I did was I let it sit in a bowl of warm soapy water, and then I rinsed it and let it air dry out in the sun. And then after it was dry, I took a little toothbrush and basically just went around the edges of all the glass to get all the extra debris and sand off of it. It also takes away any salty smells or anything from the ocean, and it also ensures that they're bright, so they'll be nice and vibrant for whatever use you have for them. Having sea glass is not only beautiful but also a remembrance of the hunt itself, so therefore it's the ultimate reward. Sea glass is a beautiful and rare product to the ocean. There are ways to tell if it is indeed sea glass, and there are many things to do once you find some. For example, you can go online and get a lot of information about it to experience the thrill yourself. Or there's a beach in Fort Bragg, California called Glass Beach, and you can see some sand, but basically the entire beach is full of glass pieces. And these are actually just some more jewelry pieces that I made. That's the same one, and then I made a white one too. And I just used normal jewelry wire that you can get at like Michael's craft store. It's pretty good strength. But Glass Beach is certainly a place I want to visit in the future. There it is. And I think if you want to learn about sea glass and what it looks like, this is certainly the place to go. The only thing that's kind of bad is you can't take any off of the beach. There are beaches around the area where you can take glass, but it's illegal to take any off of here. There's also a museum dedicated to sea glass. The guy he runs this website, and that's where I got most of my information from. He actually does tours here and has a museum down there, so he knows a lot about it, but it would be really cool to check out the museum too. And sea glass is a part of history. If you find a sharp piece that is new, if you have the pleasure of finding a smooth piece that has been tumbling in the ocean for a long time. And that was the museum. There's nothing more thrilling than spending a day searching for mermaid tears. Thank you. Has anybody ever heard of mermaid tears?
No.
Okay. Sea glass was once said to be mermaid tears. When ships would sink and sailors drown, the glass tears would wash ashore. I have found sea glass over the years. I recently found some while vacationing in Maine. I've also found some at Long Beach Island, but I found a lot here. Here's the actual glass, but since it's hard to see, I have a big shot. I also have another shot of it in a bowl so that you can see it more easily. Sea glass is broken shards of glass that have been smoothed out by the sea and can be found along beaches. Orange is the rarest color you can find. You need to be able to tell the difference between sea glass and used sharp glass. You can get cut while you're looking if you don't know the difference. Sea glass is a beautiful and rare product to the ocean. There are ways to tell if it is indeed sea glass, and there are many things to do once you actually find some. Sea glass is created from everyday occurrences in the sea. Broken bottles from sunken ships and litter are tossed into the sea, and this is why glass would wash to shore after a ship would sink and people would think that there are mermaid tears. The wave action of the ocean tumbles, rounds, and etches the glass with sand, and the bottom of the ocean is absolutely covered in these pieces. The chemical properties of the water can chemical compositions out of the glass, creating little pits, like in this picture. And this is probably the best piece that I found because it's completely rounded and there's no sharp edges or anything. And then in the next piece, it's really big. There's also a lot of pits in it. So how do you know if it is actually sea glass or just washed up debris? If it is sea glass, you can hold it up to the light and light should come through it and there shouldn't be any lines, cracks, or layers. It will have a frosted appearance like this and have no sharp edges or corners. Is there a difference between sea glass versus beach glass? Sea glass refers to saltwater glass and beach glass is freshwater glass. There's not really a big difference. The only difference is saltwater waves are more harsh and therefore you'll find a lot more rounded and smooth glass in those areas. Once you're sure it's real, the options are endless. There are many things to do once you find some. They're highly collectible and different colors are worth more value. Again, orange is the most rare and therefore the most valuable. There is a history of what the colors come from, which I found really interesting. For example, the blue is from old Vicks bottles, Nivea and Bromo seltzer bottles, and then red's kind of rare too, but it's from old perfume bottles, cars' tail lights, and even Schlitz beer bottles that date back to the 1950s. The most common colors today are green, brown, and white, and those are from beer bottles from today's generation. You can make wind chimes or numerous arts and craft projects, but my favorite use for them is collecting them and then making jewelry. This is a piece of jewelry I made. It's also the piece I'm wearing. And I just used normal wire from Michael's Arts and Crafts store. It's a pretty strong hold, and then you just need a chain. And then I made my favorite white piece into a piece of jewelry too. If you make jewelry, it'll certainly be one of a kind and unique. But to do this, you want to wash it first. And the way I washed it in warm soapy water. I let it soak in the bowl in the soapy water. Then I rinsed it and let it sit outside to air dry. Then I took a little toothbrush with soft bristles and I cleaned around the edges of each piece of glass to get rid of all the excess sand and debris that could be on there. It also gets rid of the salt water or the salt smell from the ocean. And it ensures that they're as bright as can be and will get rid of any ocean smells. Having sea glass jewelry is not only beautiful but also a remembrance of the hunt itself. It's the ultimate reward. Sea glass is a beautiful and rare product to the ocean. There are ways to tell if it is indeed sea glass, and there are many things to do once you find some. For example, you can go online to get a lot of information and experience the thrill yourself. There is a glass beach in Fort Bragg, California. You can see some sand, but for the major part, the entire beach is covered in sea glass, which is really beautiful. It's certainly a place I want to visit in the future, and if you want to experience what it looks like and learn more about it, this is the place to go. The only thing is you're not permitted to take any glass off of the beach because it's illegal, and they want to preserve this park for future generations. But there are beaches around in the area where you can, get some sea glass souvenirs. You can also visit glassbeachjewelry.com. This is a site written by Cass Forrington, who does tours at Glass Beach in California, and he also has a museum specifically dedicated to sea glass. I also want to go here. I think it would be a great place too for people wanting to learn about sea glass. Sea glass is a part of history. If you find a sharp piece, it's new, and you have to be careful because it's sharp. And if you have the pleasure of finding a smooth piece, you have a piece of history in your hands because it's been tumbling in the ocean for a long time. There's nothing more thrilling than spending the day searching for mermaid tears. Thank you.